All right, something I've been thinking about, another Sacred Spaces. This one will be stay for the ending, or what is the ending? And I heard this little preach or podcast or something years ago by Rob Bell. Controversial, I know, but hey, anyway, Rob Bell said something that stayed with me for the longest time ever, and I can never shake it out of my head. But he talks about the prodigal son, and at the end it says, okay, this is the end of the story. You guys know the story, the prodigal son, hopefully, Luke 15. But in the end, it goes, yeah. But when the son of yours, the father's talking to the older son, but when the son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home and you kill the fattened calf for him, so actually the older son's moaning to the dad, then my son, the father says, you are always with me and everything I have is yours, but we have to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. So the younger brother's returned home. There's a big party. The older brother's a little bit jealous. Why has this happened? You never do a fattened calf for me and my friends. And then that's the end of the passage. The father invites the older son in, come, let's have a party, but it ends like that. What happens? What's the resolution? Does the older son go into the house and celebrate with the younger brother and the dad, or does he stay out in the farmland sulking? We never know. Scripture doesn't give us a definite answer, and it just stayed with me because there's an assumption that he goes to the party, but we don't know. And that stayed with me a lot because there's another assumption, which I'm going to go to Matthew 14, where Peter walks on water. Very cool. So Peter replies, Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you on the water. Jesus says, come. Then Peter gets down the water, walks on the water, comes towards him. But when he sees the wind, he is afraid and begins to sink, cried out, Lord, save me. Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You have little doubt, he said. Why did you doubt? And then when they climbed into the boat, the next verse 22, when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Peter gets always so much flack. He's the disciple, gets so much flack for everything, apparently. But anyway, he's the one who walks down the waters. Firstly, he's got the courage, kudos to him, he's got the courage to get out of the water and walk towards Jesus. That's remarkable. But again, we don't notice the ending or stay for the ending, because he gets there and then he doubts, but he's already 2 or 3 meters maybe out towards Jesus. Then he doubts, then he sinks, and Jesus helps him out. And we always at that point look at why did he doubt? First of all, he got out of the boat and he's walking on water, which is incredible. Then secondly, how does he get back to the boat? No one thinks about that part. Cool, Jesus reaches him and helps him, and his faith is renewed. But it's a renewed Peter on the water there, but he still has to get back to the boat. He has to walk the 2 or 3 meters back on water to the boat. That's an ending no one really thinks about, and says, oh, we blame him for having little faith and not keeping his eyes off Jesus. Those are the sermons. But if he kept his eyes on Jesus, he would stay afloat. But first of all, a lot of us just stay in the boat. We criticize from the boat. But also, he had to walk back from that point where he sunk in the water all the way back. And that just really stayed with me too. Like, stay to the ending. What is the ending? I don't know, that just every now and then just comes back to me and thinks about it. I think about it. Peter had to walk back to the boat. He had to walk on water some more. Anyway, take it or leave it. Have a good day.